Hello, good evening, and welcome to another edition of Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television. Iron Port is proudly brought to you by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Goyle Company Limited, Ghana Revenue Authority, Serene Insurance, and Ghana Link Network Services, the operators of the Integrated Customs Management System, ICOMS at the port. Now, our media partner is the Business and Financial Times, and so if you want to have a grasp of all that transpired on the show tonight, make a date and grab the Thursday edition of the BNFT, and you'll be able to see all that transpired here on the show. As usual, we're going to be getting interactive with you, and the number to send your messages ahead of the show is 0559 019 177. 0559 019 177. Indeed, we shall also activate phone lines at appropriate time, so you can call in and then contribute to the discussion. Remember, the abridged version of Iron Port is also always aired on Ghana television every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. We are streaming live on our social media handles at Facebook. You can watch us at Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, GPHA Ghana, Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, GPHA Ghana, and at YouTube. On YouTube, you can watch us at Iron Port Ghana. Iron Port Ghana. My name is Kennedy Mona. We are back shortly.
Goyle makes good things happen. This time, Goyle has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Goyle Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Goyle Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Goyle Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience that is less.
You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
All right, you're welcome back. And so it's time for us to take a look at some happenings in the port and maritime industry in the course of the week. And during the week, the Ghana Shippers Authority met some of the shipping lines for the 2020-2021 cocoa freight negotiations. Plus, the fact that Goyle Company Limited also opened one of its branches at the Circle Overhead in the course of the week. Let's take a look at these stories.
The various shipping lines that ferry cocoa from Ghana to the various international destinations have negotiated with the Ghana Shippers Authority and the Cocoa Marketing Company freight rates for the 2021-2022 season. The lines agreed on a 5% increment across board on the previous freight rate, with the bunker adjustment factor increased by 1%. This means freight rate to the United Kingdom, for example, is now £31.5 from the previous rate of £30. This conclusion was arrived at during the 2021-2022 Cocoa Freight Negotiation Conference held in Accra. Represented by his deputy, the Minister of Transport, Kweku Foresiama, said infrastructural investments made in both the ports of Takoradi and Tema would give the shipment of cocoa in Ghana a significant boost.
With the Takoradi port preeminent position as the leading port for the shipment of Ghana's cocoa, the development and operations of on-dock multi-purpose terminal to enable the port accommodate bigger vessels is ongoing. Just like Tema Port, the multi-purpose terminal, which is expected to be inaugurated by the end of this year, will be equipped with modern gantry cranes and terminal operating systems to improve turnaround time.
The managing director of the cocoa marketing company, Vincent Authority-GPHA, revealed that Ghana recorded the highest production levels ever since the introduction of cocoa in the 2020-2021 year, despite the year being a very challenging one. He, however, called on shipping lines to increase their use of the Takoradi port.
Only 4 containerized shipping lines called the Takoradi port, although Takoradi port handles the highest volumes of our shipments. That is 47% of our total shipments was handled by Takoradi, with Tema and Kumasi accounting for 40 and 13% respectively.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Shippers Authority, Benonetta Bismarck, praised shipping lines for adopting improved digital means of transaction in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic. However, she urged the lines to institute standard operating procedures for their various services to improve ease of doing business at the ports of Ghana.
Some of the shipping agents had a plethora of inexplicable charges and were also engaged in blacklisting clearing agents for outstanding debts on previous transactions to the detriment of innocent consignees, thereby resulting in delays and associated colossal demurrage payments. These issues have impacted on the rising cost of doing business in Ghana's ports.
The leading oil marketing company in Ghana, GOIL, has affirmed its determination to make its quality fuels and services accessible to all Ghanaians. To this end, GOIL has opened its 411th service station at the Circle Overhead to provide quality products to motorists. The group CEO and MD of GOIL, Kwame Osei-Prempeh, said more service stations will be opened before the end of the year 2021.
We've decided that we go to every nook and cranny of this country, because if somebody buys our Ron 95 at Tema and he's driving to Circle and he doesn't get any GOIL filling station, he may be forced to go and buy from Yanum the non-quality one.
According to him, GOIL Super XP Ron 95 has become popular to consumers because it is sold at the same price as other fuels and also for its quality, properties and attributes.
GOIL, our basic is of the 91, we sell Ron 95 and we sell it like the price of Ron 91. What others sell at higher price, we sell at lower price.
He entreated motorists to continue to patronize GOIL products because they are going to be served the right quantity. The head of fuels marketing at GOIL, Augustine Barton, said GOIL fuels are for all ranges of vehicles.
So regardless of the type, whether it's a taxi or private, please come and patronize. Then it will protect your engine for you, to last long for you, whether it's taxi, whether it's for you or for somebody. Please try and maintain the engine. If you maintain the engine, then that you have work to do continuously.
All right, so you're welcome back. And it's time for us to zoom into the discussion proper tonight. And last week, we took a look at how to build a robust maritime industry for effective continental trade. And one thing that came into play was AfCFTA. Now, our panelists last week were unanimous in their conviction that we cannot have a smooth takeoff or a smooth AfCFTA without the requisite transport infrastructure and without the requisite port infrastructure. Talk about rail, and all that. And so today we are taking a look at the state of AfCFTA since trading began from the 1st of January 2021. That was when AfCFTA actually commenced. And so we're taking a look at how far we've come, some 9 months down the line since AfCFTA began. We have in the studios tonight Mr. Louis Yao-Aful, who is a trade practitioner and AfCFTA expert and APN at APN Network. Also to join us will be Mr. Emmanuel Donikwame, who is the Secretary General of the International Chamber of Commerce, Ghana. In fact, he will be joining us via Zoom. He was supposed to be in the studios with us. He said, due to some unforeseen circumstances, he cannot make it, and so would be available to speak to us and contribute to the discussion via Zoom. And so pretty shortly, we shall be introducing him to you. But let me welcome Mr. Yao-Aful to the studios. Hello, good evening, Mr. Aful, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good evening to your viewers.
Great. Tell us about APN Network. What is APN Network?
Well, APN Network is the first and largest private-led or owned international membership-based think tank focused on sensitization, advocacy, research, and implementation of AfTA. I mean, by us, we were the first to start in terms of sensitization issues about AfTA here and in Africa, and our membership base is still opened. Professionals who are drawn from various expertise who want to contribute to the implementation of AfTA in Ghana, to businessmen and outside Ghana. So that is the focus. And so it has the women wing. It also has the investment side.
Right. So, and how long have you been in operation?
APN had a second year in September, but I think our activities have been so consistent that, in fact, in the words of the Secretary General, he commended the work that we've done. At least out of APN, a lot of networks and a lot of organizations at least had a kind of introduction or a kind of capacity building on what AfTA is all about.
Right.
And we know that we have a lot to do. And so that is what we're focused on.
Okay, so I'll come to you pretty shortly, but let me go on to the phone lines and introduce Mr. Emmanuel Donikwame. I told you he was going to join us, via the lines, and so I've been told by my producer that he's joined us. Good evening, Mr. Donikwame. Yes, there you are. Good evening. Well, I think his sound is not, worked on yet. Yes, good evening, Mr. Donikwame.
Good evening.
Fantastic.
Can you hear me?
Great, yes, you are clear now. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. We are happy to have you. I hope you are doing well.
I'm doing great, yeah.
Yes. So I'll come to you, but let me move straight to my guest in the studio and first of all ask you what you think the current state of AfTA is.
Well, let me say good evening also to Donny for joining us. Well, if you say the state of AfTA currently, then you are looking at the trading, how far trading has gone.
Absolutely.
With respect to people taking opportunities under AfTA.
Yeah.
Other than that, I would have said that AfTA even started when the 22nd country ratified.
Yeah.
So certain accepting protocols were in force. But the trading, which has to do with the liberalization of tariffs, actually, currently, I will say that the Secretariat itself will not have full data yet on so far how many companies or how many member states companies have really performed. But let me start by saying that I can say in Ghana, we still have only two companies that have been able to ship successfully under AfTA, which is, it's not too encouraging because down the line, I should think that we should have had more than about 10.
Yes, because if that 9 months down the line, if we have just two companies being successfully able to trade under AfTA,
and
that's not encouraging at all.
And that is even a situation where Ghana is one of the leading performance countries when it comes to AfTA. So I look at the rest of some of the other African countries because Ghana itself is offering certain support, capacity building to some of the African countries to strategize. So I think that in terms of shipment, that side, I think that we have a lot to do. Then again, if you look at the single window side, every country's custom cooperation or management is supposed to have by this time worked on single windows, whether it's through in terms of technology, what have you, adjust it so that you can have harmonized codes for AfTA. So Ghana realized that ICOMS, has codes, adjusted codes for AfTA products because it's key in being able to identify what are AfTA products and what are not AfTA products. That's, I think, I know for some countries who are working hard to have that done. Then I think that in terms of how the state of AfTA trading, if you move away from in terms of the goods itself and in terms of single windows, the other area that I think that currently we can also talk about is in terms of sensitization and capacity building.
Right.
I think that preparedness, I think you could say that Ghana, or you could say that, let me use Ghana, I think it's about, let me say 50%. 50% because the awareness is still ongoing and there's a lot that needs to be done. Other countries too have done a lot of sensitization. So in terms of sensitization advocacy, you could say that it's about, let's say, 50% also. Then the state of after trading, the countries themselves that are supposed to trade, if you look at it in terms of the league, you realize that currently you still have about 38 countries that are fully trading. In other words, they have fully ratified and are full party states. Right. So we still have one country that has not yet signed, like Eritrea, and there's still other countries who are in the middle. I say the middle, they have signed, they have ratified, but they've not submitted their letters of ratification, so they are not full members yet. Right. So it means that as trading is happening, they cannot enjoy the benefits. Those are countries, if you take 54 minus 38, the rest are those I think the Secretariat needs to work on hard to get them to be fully part so that they can trade. Because the difficulty is that if country A, like Ghana, is a full party state, and country B, it's not a full party, it will be very difficult for country B to enjoy the tariff liberalization benefits, except it becomes a full party state. That is what it looks like.
Right. I'll come back to you and find out from you why you think that this is the state of affairs as far as after trading is concerned. You just mentioned the fact that only 2 companies, 9 months down the line, have been able to successfully ship through AfTA. But let me go onto the lines and speak to Mr. Donikwame. Has the ICC, your organization, the International Chamber of Commerce, done an assessment of the state of AfTA since trading began on the 1st of January 2021?
We currently working on that research, but from data that's available, we believe AfTA represents a decisive step towards the continent's long-held aspiration of regional integration. And so far, at least, we've seen countries have ratified. Some trading has started. But we all know that the pandemic has made it very difficult for the free movement of both goods, people, and services. Most of our borders are closed. Just last week, we had the demonstrations at our border post for the opening of our borders. So definitely, its impact on AfTA, it's been felt on the continent. This week, I know the Secretariat, the Commission, then commenced work on the protocol on investment, and I think that's very key. As you mentioned, there are tariff barriers that can be dealt with easily, but the main concern is non-tariff barriers. Investment in transport, investment in the energy sector, and we want to encourage more intra-Africa investment, so that our disputes that we see with cross-border investments, the key one being the building of the dam in Ethiopia. If African countries can come together and then we pool all our resources and then we invest in such infrastructure together so that the benefits is felt on the continent. Countries don't see themselves as individual states that need to benefit at the expense of others. We have a lot of resources on the continent. We have uranium in countries like Niger. So if we have to invest in nuclear facilities to provide electricity, that's there. With the DRC, there's a Congo River, we can develop a hydroelectric dam. With transport, yes, the case of Ghana, at least we've been able to invest in the port of Tema and Takoradi. We have Tema 3. The next has to do with road. As a country, we've also encouraged FDIs in the area of the assembling of vehicles, and then we've started with the railway networks. These are the kind of investments that we need to attract to be able to see more intra-African trade. The non-tariff barriers are a big hurdle, the lack of infrastructure.
All right, so you mentioned lack of infrastructure and all that, and myself and Mr. Aful in the studios have been also talking about the abysmal performance in terms of trading, given the fact that we understand that there's only 2 companies that have been able to successfully ship under AfTA. What are some of the challenges you think that has, necessitated this occurrence?
I believe these companies were already trading. We had the ETLS. There are a lot of companies who are already trading within the sub-region and exporting, mostly by road, by sea, by air. After it's more or less a scale-up of the work of ECOWAS, and it's supposed to eliminate tariffs by 90%. So you wouldn't see any big difference. You just want to encourage more exports. Currently, I think intra-African trade is around 17%. And we need to monitor that figure and then step up our production capabilities on the continent so that at least the main thing is how do you drive demand? Because on the same shelf in any shop in Africa, people will still trade or import from other parts of the world. So how do you replace a product made from any part of the world with a product made in Ghana? You can only do that when the two parties are talking. And then people are assured not just of price as a result of duty elimination, but also the quality. And I know there's a lot of work being done on harmonization of standards to ensure that the quality of our goods do meet the standards that can compete with any other product from any other part of the world. So you need that kind of communication between retailers and distributors within the continent. And you can only do that when they can move, when they can meet or they can communicate. And this can be done through interactions, through trade fair, or through the ICC network, organizations such as business associations. Unfortunately, as a result of COVID, movement of people is a bit restricted, and its impact on AfCFTA is being felt now. Yeah.
Right. Let me come to Mr. Aful in the studios and find from you. Mr. Donikwami just mentioned the element of COVID, which naturally would affect, trading. But what are some of the issues you think has impacted, the smooth, takeoff of AfCFTA?
I think that we need to understand, let's clarify a few things. We have difference between the challenges of the operationalization of AfCFTA.
Yeah.
Which Donnie talk about some of them.
Yeah.
And then we have the trading itself, getting companies to export.
Yeah.
That is, I think, the main issue.
Okay.
Operationalization has several issues. Okay. That one, which are some of the fact that, as I said, some countries are still yet to become full state.
To ratify.
Other countries are still yet to strategize. We have what we call the BIAT, boosting intra-African trade. The BIAT is like the map. It's like the blueprint by which every country is supposed to strategize under AfCFTA. It's 7 pillars. And Ghana was one of the first to adopt its own. It's standard among all the countries, our member states. You have trade finance, which you have to do. How are you going to use finance to support AfCFTA? Because, mind you, I keep on saying that the way we did our things is the same. AfCFTA is not the panacea for the existing economic issues. That is what countries should know. So we shouldn't put so much pressure on the demand for AfCFTA. What is AfCFTA going to do? Because AfCFTA is only bringing what we call 90% of products, not tariff, 90% of products to be liberalized over zero tariff over a period of years. So it is an opportunity so that you realize that if you take trade finance, if you take trade-related infrastructure, which Donnie talked about, the trade-related infrastructure, every country or a member state should do everything possible to finance its infrastructure, be it maritime, be it road, be it aviation, whichever way, be it energy. That, if you are to measure before AfCFTA came, what was the position of some of these member states? Were they already in difficulty? So now that AfCFTA has come, it's an opportunity. So you cannot say that because AfCFTA came and trading started in January 2021, you were having certain economic issues. So because of that, due to AfCFTA, it had to just be solved overnight. No. Then you look at pillars like market segmentation. How have people really identified the market? Because that is the key issue. If you have to identify a product, then identify its market and look at the comparative advantage you have. Currently, that is what a lot of countries need to do. Go and let the people identify which product they can export. Because if you don't know what you export to your next market, you cannot even start at all.
So we're talking about competitive advantage.
Comparative advantage. For instance, if you were before AfCFTA came, you were not having a market outside Africa. And maybe now you have the opportunity, let's say, in your neighboring country, Nigeria, you want to, let's say, export uniforms, and you've gotten the market there. You are targeting a market size of about 300 million plus for school uniform. Prior to that, you were not having that access, even though you were under ETLS. But with AfCFTA, it's a different ballgame altogether. So the issue has to do with the fact that there should be a lot of sensitization on which products and which sectors, on which areas companies will really focus on to identify. Currently, the Ministry of Trade is doing what I call it a kind of after scouting companies. You know, they are trying to put together, encourage companies to really export under AfCFTA. That is very important because that is what it is. Because before then, like Donnie was saying, people are doing business already. But what kind of market? As a city, I know that if you take Seychelles, for example, they don't produce a lot of things. They import. So we should be able to identify certain, maybe butter. They import a lot of butter from Brazil. So if you are here and you feel that, look, let me take the opportunity and AfCFTA and produce and export to Seychelles. That is what AfCFTA is looking for. And again, it's not only the goods. We are looking at services. Services is key because the World Bank was projecting that about 50% of GDP contribution are going to come from the service sector. And under AfCFTA, we have trading services. And the trading services, there are about 12 sectors, or we call them priority sectors, that are supposed to be tapped. Currently, the member states have negotiated for 5. Communications, professional services, or professional bodies, financial institutions, tourism, and transportation. Now, the difference between that of the goods, the trading goods, and the trading services, because the services industry is not going to be as opened, let me use that word, like the trading goods, it's going to be what we call the national interest and offer. In other words, Ghana and maybe Togo can come together and say, okay, I want to open up in the area of my tourism, while you also open up in the area of your professional services. So it will be country-based offer and national interest. So if you look at generally, trading services and trading goods, which is among the 3 first protocols that have been is running together, as we call our state after trading now, trading goods, trading services, and then dispute settlement. These are the ones working. If you look at it currently, it means that there's apart from the COVID, there's a lot of sensitization, which people should know. Existing companies should know, how do I qualify to export and after, and then what are the materials or the procedures? Some have been hearing.
You think this sensitization and education has not gone down enough?
It is going, but I don't think it's still. There's a lot to be done. There's a lot to be done because, as I'm saying, as you and I have been sitting here, most, for example, if you take even the media landscape, if you take the banking industry, most of professional services or financial institutions think that AfCFTA is isolated from them, but they've forgotten they're even part of the stream. So imagine trade finance, as I mentioned to you, which is a pillar or a BIAT. The people who are involved do not know. Most of them do not know that they are part of the agreement. And they rather look at it from afar, that, oh, we are just supposed to support AfCFTA. No, financial institutions are not supposed to support. They are part of the agreement. They have to take opportunity and see how they can expand. So that is why I say that sensitization.
And they can come in by financing people who are willing to export.
Yes, for example, like I said, every country is supposed to strategy. Ghana is using Ghana as a bank. If you go to the regional scale, the heads of states taxed Afri-Exim Bank to support the financing of AfCFTA at the regional level. And if you look at ADB, African Development Bank, it's also looking at the agribusiness and other developmental infrastructure. So it means, therefore, that we need more regional banks and national banks that will focus on the various priority sectors under AfCFTA. For example, you need an investment bank focus on the investment that Johnny was talking about, even that is not fully ready yet. You need to look at, in terms of trade-related infrastructure, a bank that will finance infrastructure. You need to look at trade-related goods, like a bank that will finance purely export and import. So you cannot put all the financing basket into one bank. That is where most of the countries are having their struggle.
Right.
So we need to look at trade finance carefully so that it's not only going to be because maybe, for example, let's take Ghana, like I was saying, Ghana Exim Bank. Last year, they rolled out certain areas where there will be their priority areas of financing. They need to expand it this year. The same way, Ghana Export Promotion also decided to expand through their what we call the NED.
Yeah, National Export Strategy.
They decided to expand certain exportable crops or products. That is the way you identify the sectors and look at the gaps and also expand on your financial institutions. Equip them. But what they would like to be doing in the coming years is that they will equip existing financial institutions in member states. So, for example, if they come to Ghana, which are some of the financial institutions we can support them so that they can target the associations Donnie was looking at. So maybe if about 10 financial institutions have been identified in Ghana, then their mandate is to how they are going to support the exportable company. Remember, after it's focused more on export, production. So it is an industrialization agenda. So everything that must be done to bring up the product, market, and then destination, consumption. This is what must be done. Let us not forget, we're also looking at creative industry. The state of trade, as we are speaking, creative industry is one of the most untapped areas that you can talk about on the African continent. The Afrasian Bank earmarked about $500 million. $500 million to support creative industry. But how many companies are even ready under the creative industry? So you realize that even that side we are not ready. Then if you talk about tourism, the pandemic hit it so hard. What is the way forward? If you talk about intellectual property rights, it's another protocol that has not been done, but it is another area that needs to be looked at carefully. Why? Because if you are looking at competition, investment, intellectual property, somebody can come out with, like during the pandemic, somebody can come out with a new product. How would that person be assisted or helped after the standardization certification, the patents rights, and intellectual rights of that person to sustain that product? So you realize that under intellectual property rights, when that protocol is also fully practicable, it's going to help a lot of innovations. And so you realize that the experts have seen that the agreement is that you see they go together. So currently, I am of the view that by the time, if you look at the approach that Ghana is taking, I'm of the view that by mid next year, the total number of companies that will be exporting and after will be more. Because currently you realize the agribusiness is taking another direction through institutions like.
So your verdict is that there's light at the end of the tunnel, and by next year things should pick up.
There is.
All right. So I'll come back to you, but let me not hold Mr. Donnie Kwame on the line for too long. Let me go to him and engage him. Mr. Donnie Kwame, if you are still there, please, I want to find out from you. Mr. Afo mentioned the issue of trade finance, and I want to find out from you how critical you think that is in the scheme of things as far as this whole AfCFTA arrangement is concerned.
It's key. Access to finance, it's the biggest bottleneck. The good news is the Pan-African payment system has been launched. I just wish somebody can just give me an idea, somebody who's actually tested it. And that's one breakthrough, because any businessman has his own concerns about how am I going to get paid. We have the CFA. On the continent alone, we have as many as 42 currencies. But once we have the Pan-African payment system, you know, once you export, you can get your CDs, even if it's sent to a country that deals in CFA. So that's one big breakthrough, and I think that's one of the success stories of AfCFTA to date. With access to finance or supply chain finance, with this breakthrough, it's also some form of investment to encourage people to fund these things. Trade finance shouldn't just be limited to people importing from other parts of the world. Africa has been seen to be a very risky area, but we need to encourage our banks through ADB and AfriExim Bank to support long-term financing of projects that are focused on AfCFTA, be it infrastructure, be it in trading. That's very important.
Right. So you just mentioned the fact that Africa has been seen as a risky area. Why is that? Mr. Donald Kwame, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm there.
Yes. I just sought to find out why it is that, the perception is that Africa is a risky area. You just mentioned that, and I want to find out why that is.
if yours is to make sure that you want to enhance agribusiness, if so if the youth currently blocks meetings, what they've done is that they've picked committees representing these business councils from all the regional blocks, so that they can see how they can, because the investment is not going to be like the trade. It's going to be based on protocol, based on codes. Yeah. And currently, that's why I'm sure Ghana's investment law is not ready, because Ghana wants to wait and see how the continental investment
initiative, because if we are not exporting, the ports will just be there. I wouldn't say the ports are just there for goods that will be traded and after. Yes, we do import from other parts of the world, but the volume connect within the continent, and then meeting people face to face. But COVID is also brought to the fore the need to revisit the protocol on e-commerce, because it's come to stay. If we can't move, at least we can transact business online. And I know
from 95. Now there's no need.
You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water, or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your
the treaty of free movement of people. This is a time to be self-employed. This is the time to part of the chamber is pointing to you, and then you do that. That is what Egypt is doing. In Egypt, when graduates come out, and most of them don't have job. What some of the associations are doing that they employ their services to give training to some of the business or agents. We can tell you that, oh, when you are dealing with leather, you can go to Ethiopia.
Global Digital Standards Initiative. We realize that people are creating all kinds of platforms all over the world, but we really don't have a digital standard. So we've initiated that. We have experts from around the world to have a digital standard for these. And then I know at the WTO negotiations, as he mentioned, it's to start with Nigeria, that's the advantage of having a secretariat. Everything that has to do with AfCFTA, Ghana has to be included. So we hope we encourage the skilled and unskilled, and those with entrepreneurial skills already who need to scale up whatever they're doing and need some kind of mentoring in going international. They expect they're available. And then we also provide a platform for matchmaking. I started by how do we create demand? Straight away, you get to meet a party in Kenya. You get to meet a colleague in South Africa or in Morocco. And then you could plan a project together. I don't believe in people seeing themselves, I belong to this state and I'm supposed, there should be enough cross-border investment as we see in the EU, you know. And hopefully next year we might roll out a conference on supply chain finance through our ICC Banking Commission, which involves all the banks in Ghana. How we can fund these kind of supply chains projects of that nature.
Right. Okay. So at this juncture, let me announce that the phone lines have been activated, and the number to dial is 020-552-8353, 020-552-8353. You can call in and contribute to the show. Let me take some messages now. This one says, my name is Kojo. I am into furniture. This after thing sounds interesting. I want to know what I need to do if I want to trade with countries in East Africa, for example.
Yes, like I mentioned earlier, when the rules of origin is fully implemented, and then the tariff concessions, the tariff concessions are very key. When he knows the country where he wants to take his product to, really want it, in a layman's words, let me use that word, really wants it, then he's good to go. All he needs to do is that there is a task force in Ghana, made up of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and then authorized customs, to inspect the kind of goods you are preparing to export and after, so that they can give you advice. All these things will be made more public for the people to know. So yes, once you are ready with your product, it is important for I'm preparing a document, I'm not done yet, where I have come out with knowing all the export and import comparativities of all these countries. Then you will know, because if you know that Ghana, these are my export lines and import lines, it will advise you to know when you are taking your product there. That is all, because if you're able to know that this country is ready for your product, you don't need to struggle exporting it. Then again, also, you then need, if there's a need for support, then the institutions that are ready to support you do that.
Okay. So let's go into the phone lines and welcome Benedict from Abuja. He's calling us from Abuja. That's Nigeria. Good evening, Benedict.
Good evening, Chief. How are you?
Hello, Benedict.
Yeah, I'm enjoying your program.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening. Please, I just want to
Hello,
ask
Benedict. Can you hear me?
2 questions.
Yes.
Yeah,
please go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to ask 3 questions about this topic.
All right. Sure. Please do.
First, I just want to know if Africa, we are really united for this free trade to take place. Number 2, we are colonized by different masters. While we were talking of a single currency of ECO, Francophone countries have already printed a new CFA. Our borders are closed. When you are traveling on ECOWAS road, it's like you are from the moon. Has our expert done a lot of research to see that this fine project, the Free African Trade, can be really sustained? Because by the time you are planning within another country overthrowing another government, ECOWAS, what is really are they doing about these challenges we are facing? Because my brother there spoke about the youth. I was so happy. You know, African, our culture, we always decide with the elders. We don't involve the youth, even our family. We don't have meeting with our children. So this fine project of African free trade, some of our children are 23 years, 25 years, and I heard about 2063. And if nothing is done about the youth, our education curriculum, most of our children, they are unemployable because of the subject or the course they read. What is our leaders doing to have a united Africa so that we don't have a barrier on languages? Because if I enter French, they say, comment ça va? As what are you saying? They treat you differently.
Yeah.
And when they see Francophone speak to fellow Francophone, they welcome him as a brother or her as a sister. Are we not experiencing all these things? And what are we going to do about it?
Okay.
Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much indeed, Benedict, from Abuja, Nigeria. We are grateful to you for your time, and thank you very much for choosing Metro TV and Iron Port. Basically, he has 3 issues. One has to do with whether Africa is really united in terms of this whole AfCFTA arrangement. 2, he talks about a single currency, Anglophone, Francophone, how are we going to be able to come up with a single currency? And then 3, he talks about youth employment, youth involvement in this whole AfCFTA arrangement.
I think that these are good questions. The first one, that the unit integration has been dreamt of many years ago. And it was OAU, and it graduated, let me use the word graduate, to AU. And it's building. It's not 100%. And I think the African Union is using various flagship programs to really integrate the continent.
Right.
Like Agenda 2063 I talked about, it's not that they are waiting to 2063. It is to celebrate the 100 years of AU in 2063.
Right.
So a lot of programs have been put together to make sure that's reality. So one of them is the single market. The next one will be one custom union, one central African bank, one aerospace or aero program, one, it continues like that. Now, with regard to, we can unite through trade, we can unite through sports and so many other ways. The other issue is talking about in terms of single currency. It has been an issue. You see, we had a roundtable discussion, UNECA and Dakar recently. And single currency is so key. And for you to have a single currency, if it's within a regional, you need to have a regional central bank. So if we are going to have one African currency, we're supposed to have one African central bank. And I was glad to hear that the AU is going to pilot that with Nigeria Central Bank as a startup. They are still ongoing. Now, what is important is not just trying to have a central bank. Currency is about production. If your productive capacity is weak, if your macroeconomic indicators are not good, how are you going to have a very effective currency? Again, you need anchors in a currency. In the echo, Ghana and Nigeria are the anchors of echo.
Right. Please hold your fire and stop there. When I come back, you continue. We have Doma V, who is calling us from Techiman. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Are you Madagati brother?
Yes, please.
I saw the name and I realized you were. Katuma?
I'm here.
All right. So please flow.
I wanted to find out about the African free trade. I was importing goods from South Africa just about a month ago. Then I wanted to take advantage of the African free trade.
Can you speak up a bit, Doma V?
Yeah.
Can you please speak up a bit?
Okay. I said I was importing goods from South Africa.
You are importing goods from South Africa?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So I wanted to find out about the African free trade, and then I contacted a supplier in South Africa. And then he told me that their company is not registered with the African free trade, and for that matter, I cannot enjoy the free trade agreement in Ghana. I don't understand why. Is it that the exporting company should also be registered with? Because I know South Africa is on the African free trade. So is it that the companies in South Africa, all of them must register to be part of the African free trade, or once the country is registered, then automatically it affects all these goods and services that will be exported into a different country?
Okay. Did you were able to?
Yeah, I think if I understand, he's saying that.
Thank you very much indeed for calling us from Techiman.
If I understand, he's saying that he was trying to import from South Africa.
Yes.
And the company there said that company over there is not registered under AfCFTA.
Okay.
That's what he was asking.
Okay.
Okay. What I want him to understand is that it's not about companies registering under AfCFTA. I made earlier point that if the country that you are exporting, so in this case, the company there will be exporting. If the company is exporting here and it's not part of our tariff concessions, then it could be impossible.
Right.
The tariff concession is what I'm saying, that we are giving out this product as trading off. If it's not part within our list, it means that maybe we have it and we are not willing to present it as a concession in the agreement. So that is what maybe the company is trying to explain. That look, Ghana does not accept it because it's not part of its list. And so the important thing is, I think very soon the Ministry of Trade will be coming out with some of these. When the heads of state adopt the list, they will publish it for everybody to know which products are concessions and which of them are not. I was ending now with a single currency, that the currency issue, when ECHO, Ghana and Nigeria were anchoring ECHO. And if Ghana and Nigeria, you know the difficulty they went through during COVID.
Sure.
So it means that at the end of the day, what about the other countries? And it was recently that the Francophones decided to give up, let me use the word give up, and then join the full-blown ECHO. So single currency is possible, but it's not going to come easy when we are not producing enough. So therefore, other forms of supporting the single currency is the in the payment systems. So Afrasian Bank inter-payment system that they've come called the PAPS is to facilitate an easier exchange rates, whereby, because most of the time if you are here, if you go to Nigeria and you want to change cedis into Naira, you have to exchange it in dollar first. Yeah. So the payment system is connected to all platforms, all central banks, such that you can transfer the money, whatever you want to do, in your currency, and the person will receive it in his currency over there. Right. This is what they are the pilot stages. Okay. And the other fantastic ones, if you take here in Ghana, the one that Maslock is running on by Urban Capital, it's another fantastic payment settlement platform. Okay. So they are equally more coming. My advice to the Secretariat is that they shouldn't depend upon one single platform. They should open up for more platforms that will be effective for the people to decide how they can be operating under these kind of settlement payments.
Okay. So this one says, my name is Michelle. Key subject being discussed. When you say non-tariff barriers removed by AfCFTA, what are some of these barriers? Mr. Donikwame, would you like to attempt this? A texter sent in a message, and he says, when you say non-tariff barriers removed by AfCFTA, what are some of these barriers?
Anything that it's does not constitute, what do you call it, duties. It's more or less a non-tariff barrier. And the key one, I believe, is the lack of infrastructure, and then the delays at points of entry, the various checkpoints, all the other things, phytosanitary issues that popped up to do with stand, are all treated as non-tariff barriers. Yeah.
Okay. All right. This one says there has been much talk of inadequate maritime transport services to support the trade. Here currently, it would cost more to ship to another African country than to Europe via one of the popular shipping lines. How true is that? And how can we position ourselves to provide maritime shipping services to support the trade?
I think these are maritime issues.
Yes.
But the quick one on the non-tariff barriers, if it could be what we call technical barriers. So non-tariff barriers could be away from tariff, but a technical barrier can be erected in that place. One technical barrier could be harmonization of registration and certification. There are some countries, they will hide behind product registration and certification or standards to say that no, your product is not acceptable because it's of poor quality. It happened between recently Uganda and Kenya on crops, what do you call it, maize.
Yeah.
Okay, with respect to how is maritime, if I got the question, maritime position itself.
Yes. He says there has been much talk of inadequate maritime transport services to support the trade. Here currently, it would cost more to ship to another African country than to Europe via one of the popular shipping lines. How true is that? And how can we position ourselves to provide maritime shipping services to support the trade?
For me, the little I know is that there's difficulty when it comes to transportation. And that is why I pointed out that if him, the one asking the question, is willing to build up an infrastructure capacity where he owns these shipping lines, we are good to go. Because then, of course, you have the markets, because a lot of people will be happy. Because it's true, sometimes goods have to go so many other countries before coming here. And that is not good. So I think that if companies I was happy when I heard recently that McDonald has bought a private jet for businesses.
Yeah.
If companies or
for
individuals, yes, if companies or individuals can take opportunity and own these assets for transportation and other things, that is what AfCFTA is seeking for. That is what we call the trade-related infrastructure as a pillar of AfCFTA. Right. So if the private sector can go into join, in Ghana we have the public-private partnership,
PPP.
That is there. Example is, for example, Ghana was doing rail to here, from here to I think Pada. But with this joint with Burkina Faso moving it beyond to Burkina, that is what we are saying. If government to government is possible, it can also be government to private, and it can also be private to private, which is possible. Look at inland port. Today we've not had time to talk about it, but look at inland port. If you look at Nigeria, sometimes if you watch some of their documentaries, what they've done to inland port. One good place, I don't know about what they expect to say. If you look at the Kole, if Kole was in its perfect state, the Kole right down to Odona, moving upwards, and also from Tema. If you are going to Dakar, if you are going to Goree Island, it's business. A ship goes 40 minutes interval, take people there, bring them back. We can do the same if we really look at our infrastructure capacity.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. So this one says, I am so much interested in the AfCFTA discussion, and I would like to have a contact number I can call for more information. Thank you. All right. So my producers will furnish you with Luis's number and Mr. Donikwame's number, so you can contact either of them as and when you want to. Now, this one says, good evening, boss. The local producers should take advantage of AfCFTA to produce more so they can be recognized in the world, on the world market, so we can have a stable economy. This one is from Mahmoud Kamara. Thank you very much indeed, Mahmoud Kamara, for the message. And this one says, if I get Louise well, heads of states are yet to agree and publish the conceded products. Then how can we trade?
No, that is not what I was saying. What I was saying is that we call tariff concessions. Tariff concessions, you see, the after operationalization is in stages. The ministers, African ministers, trade ministers council, They are the let me say, in the ordinary mindset, they are the supervisors of the secretariat activities. What happens is that secretariat experts will present issues to them. The ministers will also sit together. If they agree, they now forward it to the heads of at a summit. Then at the extraordinary summit, the heads of states will now vote or agree and say, okay, we adopt. So if the type of concessions which various countries or regions have prepared, all will bring it together that day to the heads of state summit and say, okay, we all adopt it and it should work. That is what I'm trying to explain.
All right. So let me come to you, Mr. Donald Kwame, and take your final words. I want to find out from you, going forward, from the look of things, what should we be looking out for? What should we be doing as a country as far as this AfCFTA thing is concerned?
We will only see improvements in the economies of various countries or as a continent when we spend more on the right investment. Taking a cue from the last question, we still send our youth or ties cost as example, cost of transporting my goods by sea to, let's say, Senegal is far more expensive than the person importing the same product from Asia. Definitely, if you remove the 90% tariffs, the product will still not be competitive enough, for me to benefit from AfCFTA. These are the things that we need to address, as we said.
Right.
We need investment to deal with the non-tariff barriers. Yeah.
Very well. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Emmanuel Donald Kwame. He is the Secretary General of the International Chamber of Commerce, Ghana. We are grateful to join us on tonight on Iron Port. And Mr. Absett, make your final words. Just in 1 minute.
Wealth creation is a wealth. If you divide the limited respect of about 1 trillion over a population of about 1 point people, every is supposed to have about $8,000 to $6,000 about 17 to 18. That's 18,000 Ghana. That is enough to start a business. With. And our government must be committed to what they have signed.
All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Louis Yao Aful is a trade practitioner and AfCFTA expert. He is with the APN Network. We thank you for joining us on Iron Port tonight. We are grateful to you for your time. And this is how, viewers, we draw the curtain on this week's edition of Iron Port. God willing, next week we'll bounce back with another wonderful edition. Remember, the repeat or the abridged version of this show is broadcast on Ghana Television every Wednesday evening at 8:30 p.m. My name is Kennedy Mona. Thank you very much for joining us and see you next week.